Are we on? We're on. That was a small laugh.
Little
that
laugh
was a tiny
today.
little baby.
Little laugh today.
Jordan, right now, you were sitting at a different point in the table, like at a different area in the table
when we first started.
But now you're in your normal seat, and the sun is shining
down and through my beard,
through your Amish-looking hair.
It's pretty long.
It is long.
It
is a long hair for you.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know. I love it though.
Well, it keeps you warm.
It's not even about that. I'm just like this. Like I tell myself at night, I'm like, don't cut your beard. Like, because I get impulsive. I get very impulsive. Wow. So if there ever gets to be a spot where I'm like bored,
preaching to the choir there, baby.
Yeah. If there ever is like a time when I'm like even remotely bored, which never happens, I'm like, I should just cut this thing off. And I'm like, there's a little voice in the back of my head like, don't do it. I also went into like relax mode too. Like I went into like I was sitting over here just a second ago because we had a couple people who we were talking to before this thing started, and now I'm just sitting here like Papa Smurf over here like, well, hello Kimberly, welcome to the lake. We were talking about something really serious, and then all of a sudden I'm like, let's talk about something absolutely ridiculous for an hour.
That's kind of how we work, though. Man,
I got this cool typewriter though.
Listen, guys, I walked in and Jordan came in with a case. It's like, I don't even, the poo emoji. It's that color, brown. It's like a hideous color of brown.
It's got
like a racing stripe. And I at first thought it was like a briefcase, like you're trying to do like an old school retro vibe thing, and I was like, "What the heck is this, Jordan?"
like this is my typewriter.
No, it's a typewriter.
It doesn't work right now, so I got a sweet deal on
this
it.
This is gonna be your new obsession. Like you're slowly gonna like remove things off your shelf and replace it with typewriter parts.
Like, hey Kim, I bought a painting the other day. I was at this art exhibit. Oh my goodness. I have something that I want to tell you afterwards. I can't tell you on air, but you're gonna you would be the person. I'm just reminding you. If you're listening, I'm so sorry. Like I can't tell you. It's not gonna work.
Well, okay, I have something to tell you that's gonna start off our podcast.
Start on the air?
It can start off on the air, but first we should introduce ourselves. So hi everyone.
Hey everybody, welcome to Grease and Grace. My name's Jordan.
And I'm Kim.
Hey, we're glad that you're here. If you don't know what we're doing, just take a deep dive in the back. I don't want to go through the intro today, but we'll get there in a second. Kim's going to tell me something, so I'm more curious about that than I am about intros to podcasts.
So this is our podcast, though. It's called Grease and Grace, Jordan and Kim. So I was reading the news today. Were you reading the news this morning? Oh,
man, yeah. About the fires?
Do you ever click, like, yes, but no. Do you ever click on, like, the links? Within that,
the 1440.
Yeah. Do you ever click on the links to kind of like deep dive?
Wait, hold on a second. 1440.
We love the 1440.
Sponsor us because I love you. I read you every day. My wife reads you every day. Kim
I read every day now because of Jordan.
Do I ever click links? Yeah. Especially in the etc. section. Wait, hold on. If you don't know what we're talking about, there's I hate the news. I don't want to watch the news. I don't watch the news. Actually, I don't even have anything to watch the news on. I wouldn't even know how to get to the news. Even in social media, if I see anything that's news, like even remotely related, I go on a different direction. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, this is completely unsponsored, but there's a thing called... It should be. There's a thing called the 1440. It's a daily email. It gives you everything that you need to know that's transpiring in the world, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It's wonderful. I have learned to love it. It has become a part of my morning routine.
It is the best 5 minutes outside of reading your Bible, prayer, gratitude.
You just get like a blurb of what's going on with no bias, which is really nice.
You can face your day, and somebody's going to look at you and be like, hey, did you know? And you'll be like, yes, I did.
I did.
Yeah.
So this was part of the etc. Did you click on any of those today?
I didn't.
Oh, good. Okay, so you have a specific phrase that has now
the best is yet to come
coined. No, it's just a word.
It's
been coined as the Lake Superior State University banished words list.
What's that?
2025. It's a banished words list. University of Lake Superior State University 2025 banished words list. There's 10 and one that you say.
What is it?
is number 8 on this list.
I'm in suspense.
Do you know what you say all the time? Do you know?
Do I even hear myself talk? It's a better.
Like, do you know that there are certain words that you say often?
No. You gotta enlighten me.
I'm gonna go
we are going down this. I'm so nervous right now. I'm sweating.
So there's 10 of them. Okay. I'm not gonna tell you which one it is that you say.
I'm gonna laugh
but
as soon
I
as
know
you get there.
your friends. I know at least 2 friends of yours.
What does it mean, a banished word? What's a banished word?
That is not allowed to say anymore.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
I say a
no,
lot of
it's
those.
I mean, it's according to Lake Superior State University. This is a very
okay. Fire away.
Okay, so cringe.
Oh, I don't use that.
Era.
Like a new era, like a hat, like new era hats.
Like so.
Like in my era. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
go
like
ahead.
I'm in my coffee era. The Eras tour. Whatever. I don't.
Hello, Taylor Swift.
I don't like her, so I don't even know why I said that.
Eras tour. Yeah, got it.
If you know, you know.
Okay.
Game changer.
That is a game changer.
Utilize.
I say game changer a lot.
You do say game changer a lot. That's not the one though.
Okay.
Dropped, which I don't know what that one says.
So like the album just dropped.
Once edgy and cool, dropped has become more of a letdown. Whether it's in an album, a trend, or a product, this term has fallen flat. Books, music, and all kinds of unnecessary things are currently being dropped rather than introduced, released, or offered.
This person doesn't know sneakers because in the sneaker world they use it all the time. The new Jordans just dropped. The new Kill Shots just dropped. Whatever.
I feel like this person is just like an English major with.
You trying to start a fight?
Anyways,
you found one.
So this one.
Keep going.
This one,
What
period.
Are we talking about today?
And this has no relation whatsoever to what we're talking about.
We'll get to our topic. I promise.
We will. Period. So like, I think that this is more like period. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, like I'm gonna tell you how it is. Period.
Yeah.
Like you're saying the
you don't need to say the.
You're saying the mark. Punctuation.
You don't need to say that.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. I say it all the time. These peanuts are good, right? 100%.
100%. So now
exclamation point.
Here, I'll read the.
I'm having so much fun today.
Is it possible to be over enthusiastic about retiring?
100%.
100%. Absolutely. It's overused. Has left no room for nuance or doubt. A phrase predominantly nominated for its overuse. Some felt it was simply not applicable. Since when should a percent be used to describe your agreement in a conversation?
Listen here, Karen.
The person who said that, his name is Steven. You can talk straight to him.
Listen here, Steven.
If you listen, you're
come
from Ohio.
Me. Yeah, like who are you? Some 15-year-old in a basement playing on his dad's Xbox. You need to calm down.
And then the last one, sorry, not sorry.
Oh, I don't think I've said that in a while.
Of those, I probably say sorry, not sorry the most. Oh, and skibbity.
Skibbity toilet.
Skibbity toilet. The viral word may have resonated with the younger crowd, but for many, it's just noise. Agatha from Denmark explains
Denmark? This is America.
Nobody cares about a skibbity toilet, skibbity fizz, or skibbity Ohio phantom tags. At this point, nobody even knows what it means, and it just annoys
Nobody does
people.
know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know. I've asked.
My daughter said it the other day. She's like, what the skibbity? And I was like, too close.
That
like,
is what. That's what Miles has been saying. And I'm like, can you get this out? Like, get it out of your mouth, man.
Elizabeth, what the skibbity's wrong with my typewriter?
But you say 100% often.
100%.
It's on the 2025 banished list.
So does a buddy of mine. We both know him, but I won't call him out on.
Okay.
On
it might be the person who's like, he says it a lot.
Hey, you know what?
I read that this morning and thought, oh, Jordan needs to know.
Listen here, Steve. I'm tired of you. Period.
I'm 100% tired of you. 100%.
It is what it is.
I'm going to be a game changer in 2025, so don't call me cringe.
I bet you $100 I could use all those in one sentence.
I'm in my 100% era.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
All right, so
I read that. I thought that would be like a nice...
If you made it through the first 10 minutes, congratulations. Welcome to Grease and Grace. Here's what we do.
Applause for you.
We banter for the first couple of minutes.
We do.
And then we get on to the topic of the day. And what we do is we look at this thing and we're like, hey, here's the greasy side of things. We just can't stand it, whatever. Did a bird fly?
A stink bug just like
really hope he doesn't land on the window. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know how that works out.
Oh, it's on the window right now.
And then we try to find some grace, in the whole thing. So anyway, Kim gives the topic of the day, and then I'll give you a little bit of definition, and then we'll dive in. So, Kim, topic for today.
The topic that we are going to talk about, because it is the new year, new you. Everybody does the new year, new me era, and so diet culture.
Diet culture.
We are talking about diet culture today,
Ooh.
baby.
So give me what you mean by it when you say diet culture.
Well, I feel like we live in a day and age where everybody is like on a diet of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
When in reality, a diet is literally defined as what you eat. And so everybody has coined this, like, I'm on the paleo diet, I'm on the keto diet,
yeah.
I'm on the no carb, I don't know what it, like Atkins diet, all of these different diets. And it has like consumed our psyche almost. I don't know if it's the same thing for guys, but I feel like for guys, like there's like the carnivore diet where like so many people are just eating,
or like you like kale or cookies or whatever.
Yeah, and that's all included in a diet. So when people say they're going on a diet, that doesn't make any sense. So diet culture.
That's interesting you bring that up, because it used to be like people would say like I'm going on a diet, but now and like everybody knew what that meant, but now you're right, like people wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's so specific, and so we're talking.
So let's define it. You ready?
Yeah,
okay. So diet culture refers to a common set of trends and norms that may specifically affect those undertaking dieting or monitoring their caloric or nutritional intake. Food. It often describes a set of societal beliefs pertaining to food and body image. Ooh, that's interesting.
Say that again.
So basically what it's saying is like you also have your own personal set of beliefs in regards to what food and body image look like, and then primarily focuses on losing weight and endorsement of thinness as the highest moral standard and the alteration of food consumption. I could spin on this for a while. Scholars and activists believe that diet culture is often intertwined with racism and other forms of prejudice, and rely on an intersectional approach to discuss the interactions of prejudice based on gender, race, and weight. As a term, diet culture is used as a framework for social analysis and as a critique of contemporary social standards and their impact on body images and health as it pertains to those classified as overweight and engaged in a diet regimen. You probably didn't see that one coming.
I was not prepared for that. That was so intense.
This is really interesting that we're talking about this today, because we just had a conversation about this in my home, actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to do that. But we were talking about how people are built. I'm going to try to be as broad as I possibly can here. Like, and how, like your frame, for lack of a better word, is either like plays to your advantage or doesn't play to your advantage.
Depending on your goals.
Right. And there's a bunch of research that I've already done on this. I'm not an expert by any means, but I just know, let's just throw this out here because this will be my first grease of this whole thing, is there is no such thing as being big boned. That's not a thing. You can't, your bones are your bones.
Yes, but they can be more dense than others. I won't,
argue that by any means, because there's some people who, are legitimately going to their phones right now being like, hold up a second. Like, is he for real? Like, you're using that term, and this is why this is super frustrating for me. That term oftentimes is justification of why people are bigger.
Yes.
Because they're like, I'm big boned.
Yes.
No, you're undisciplined.
So this is very much a topic in our household, because Josh, he's gonna be so mad at me for saying it, but I always call Josh dainty.
Dainty.
He's got because he.
Look at you, dainty Josh.
Don't ever call him. If you ever call him dainty,
bringing that into our conversations, that's for sure.
There will be a stare
Sunday morning fist
of
bump.
1,000 swords going straight to my soul.
So you're telling me that I cannot call him DJ?
Don't call him DJ. If you did, I think later he'd be like, why does Jordan call me DJ? And I'd be like, don't worry about it.
You don't listen to the show. Maybe you should listen to our podcast.
That's why I'm like totally cool with this. Okay, so
100%.
We have very different body types. Not only because like I'm female and he is male, but my family line, we're built. I always say, my mom says too, we're built to farm. Like we have dense bones.
Yeah.
My brother and I, excuse me, can put on muscle extremely quickly.
For the record, if you're talking about the brother that I think you're talking about, he is a big dude. Like, I mean, there's some times where I look at him and I'm like, you could be like a legitimate power lifter.
I know. So Josh was just talking about this the other day, and he was
big.
like, I just want Caleb to like, Caleb, we all just want to see you lift. I want to see what you can do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll call him out.
He's
Keaton also,
huge.
but Keaton is only a half brother. So like different.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, let's backtrack on Caleb though. He's not huge, like in regards to the fact where I'm looking at it.
He's
like
just
you look
bulky.
at him and you're like, if you worked out, you would take off.
Yeah, and he knows. So we put on weight extremely quickly because our frame supports it better.
Built to farm. I like that
We're
one.
built to farm. Crop fit. We're doing crop fit. If you didn't listen to us talk about crop fit, I don't remember what.
Go back.
It was in the workout. It was in the gym. I think it was in the gym culture.
It's so fantastic.
But Josh's frame does not allow him to build muscle as quickly. So like when I go to the gym, he gets so mad at me because like for a second I didn't work out for like 2 months or something like that. Nothing. I went straight back into the gym and was able to lift 120.
It's like nothing.
And he was like, "You're kidding me, right?" And I was like, "No, it was good. I probably could have done more." And he's like, "Shut your mouth." And so
you go in every 2 weeks.
My frame.
Yep, still got it. Well, see you later.
And so like my frame is able to hold that.
Yeah.
His frame is not.
He'll lose it.
Yes. And so I don't know if it's like the bone density, but like we also have this conversation in our house often. And talking about how to like,
I just can't stand the justification of it. Like, because there's so many times people look at it and they're like, "I'm this way because," and I'm like, no. Like, either you're naive to it or you're in a totally different like ball game here. It's just it's so aggravating to me because oftentimes justification is utilized.
Yes, but I feel like the use of big boned is more for lack of education. Upon
this is going to be a really good partner for our gym podcast because there's going to be some things that we're going to revisit here for sure. But back in that episode, I said it, like throw out your scale because I mean, again, going to our conversation we were having last night, like we were talking and I just said people are just built different. Like so like that's. One person's going to get on the scale and go, "Oh man, 175 pounds. Like I'm so fat." Another person gets on it at 75. I'm 175 pounds. I'm so thin. Like, what are you, 6'7" or 5'2"? You know, like what? Like there's so,
yes.
And when I don't think it helps either when you're a parent because you know this just as much as I do. When you first start having kids, what do? They shove the kid on the scale, and they check his height
all the time,
and then they give you the percentile.
Yes.
Oh, he's 95 percentile in weight. Thanks for calling my kid Chunk Monk.
It's just big bones.
He's in the 16th percentile of his height. Okay, you just call him short.
Yes, just say it.
That's just who he is.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, and there's so many people who react differently to different food.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, you like bread? Sometimes that goes straight to your body.
Really?
Where other people eat bread and they're like, you wouldn't even know.
Yes. And so that's why like diet culture, I feel like fits really nicely for the beginning of 2025 because 2025 is everybody is always like, new year, new me. I'm going to lose that 15 pounds.
Hashtag also another word that's gone.
Goals.
Yeah.
And so, or like, I'm on my weight loss journey or I'm on my like XYZ food journey. You know what I mean? Like,
but when does that stop?
Well, that's the problem. So that goes into my grease. So Josh, before he was an electrician, he went to school for, exercise science.
Yeah.
He is very knowledgeable.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yes, he's very knowledgeable. And he used to be a personal trainer. And
he's very meticulous.
Very meticulous. And he would talk about people going on like keto diets. And I feel like keto kind of like has fallen by the wayside a little bit.
A little bit. It's not as popular as it once was. That's for sure. Yeah.
But people... He would get so frustrated because he's like, your body is not supposed to be in ketosis
all the time.
For all the time.
Yeah.
He was like, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
And so there's a point where like people are just jumping on trends, or like the gluten-free trend. They're jumping on these things.
Which majority of people, and I know this is going to trigger so many people, the majority of people out there are not... they don't have a gluten problem. They're gluten sensitive.
Yes,
that's a whole different ball game
than somebody who goes to the hospital.
Celiac.
Yes,
celiac and gluten sensitive are totally different.
Yeah, but like so many people like jumped onto these, like they cling to these diets to lose weight, but they're not researching to understand like. The ketosis is for people who have kidney issues.
Yeah.
Do you have kidney issues?
Well,
then like you're doing your body a disservice.
I mean, same with gluten. Like you had one bad reaction to something that had gluten in it, and immediately you jump on the like, oh, I'm a celiac. Like that's, we've talked about this before too, but that's the old adage is if everybody's sick, nobody's sick.
Yeah.
And what you just did is the people who are really sick, you jumped in their same platform. So if like I'm like, oh, I get anxious. Having anxiety and being anxious are very, very, very different.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just like that is my grace. Is like it turns into this like longevity thing that is doing your body more harm than it is doing good. And like if people are doing, you know, like because it's still very prevalent, the gluten-free movement, if you will, I'm rolling my eyes at it. Not because I don't think that it's valid, but the problem is that
because some of you out there do have valid things,
and
we won't.
And I'm not like knocking that. If you have like a genuine reaction,
go get looked at. Go talk to a doctor. Yeah.
But the issue with gluten specifically is like your body develops further intolerances. And so like while you might have been fine for, you know, X, Y, and Z this time, with you cutting it completely out of your diet, then you're becoming more and more intolerant. It's the same thing with dairy. No, it's not. I don't think that's true. Well, kind of.
It can be.
It can be. You can develop more and more sensitivities to it. I'm not a doctor by any means, but these are just things that like, as I have been in the food world, shocker, I'm in the food world.
Hello.
These are the things that like I look up because it's stuff that like I very much deal with.
And it's interesting. It's
interesting to me, and it's stuff that like a lot of food food services deal with. It's like, how gluten-free do I need to go? And I'm like, well, if somebody says that they're gluten-free, then you have to treat it as if they have celiac, even though 90% of people don't have celiac disease.
Well, like I love like the CrossFit world, lifting, things like that. And even the guys who are like bodybuilders who go on stage, they will tell you the moment they're on stage, that is the unhealthiest they are. They're completely dehydrated. They have no water in their body. I mean, their skin.
There's no carbohydrates at all for their energy.
Their skin is razor thin. If you listen to them when they do like an interview afterwards, they're breathing so heavy. They get done, they're like, what do? They go eat
and like smash like boxes of pizza.
They like consume, and then like so then they do like a loading phase where it's like they're eating everything under the sun, and then they go on a dieting phase where they eliminate all these things because they've just figured out, oh, if I do this, I look like this. If I don't do this, I look like this.
Which is on such an extreme level.
It's crazy because I used to look at that and I'd be like, oh man. Now I love the discipline side. Because I think there's something to be said about them being disciplined in regards to what they're doing and how they're approaching that. But in the same breath, like I look at it and I go, you're also doing something that's very, very, for a small season, unhealthy. I mean, it's days, you know, like maybe a couple weeks, but at the same time, like those last couple of weeks, like you're doing that so that people can see what's underneath the skin. But man, like any bodybuilder would look at you and be like, the goal is not to walk around like this all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's
it's
not the goal.
Unsustainable.
Yeah.
But like watch in like 10 years, there's going to be like a bodybuilder's diet. You know what I mean? There's going to be something like that because somebody caught wind and they tried it and they were like, oh, they lost so much weight. And then it's like your body can't sustain. Like carbs are good for your body.
Right.
Just not like white bread.
Now, I will give you, like, I'll move into a different grace because this kind of bothers me.
Grease?
Grease, yeah, sorry. So the other grease that I have, though, with the whole diet culture thing is it's gone on the other side of the pendulum, too, which is, okay, so now it's okay to be unhealthy. And that just grinds me because there are people out there that are like, I won't even talk about the female side of things. I'll just talk about it with guys. The guy's like, oh, he got a dad bod. And I'm like, he gonna die of a heart attack.
That's called heart disease.
Yeah, like it's not cute. It's not okay. Like you're legitimately unhealthy.
Yeah.
I'm not asking, and I get this all the time. People look at me and be like, well, I don't want to look like you. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Like I'm me, you're you. You, though, are unhealthy. You are carrying around massive amounts of weight that is doing damage on your heart. Your body's not meant to carry that much weight around. So I and people look at it and they're like, oh, you're fat shaming. I'm not fat shaming. I'm just saying I'm concerned about you.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between looking at somebody and being like, I don't like you, because I'll take the definition, like, it does. It moves into racism and and hatred and stuff like that. I'm not mad at you or upset with you because of how you look. I'm concerned about your daily walk, that you're hurting yourself. And I've talked to people who are heavy, because I know there's people out there who listen to or who are heavy, and my concern, and they will tell you how hard it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I agree. I hear you. What are you doing though to move the needle? That's all I'm asking about. Like, how are you moving the needle? How are we getting better? How are we getting healthier?
And it's not even move the needle, because move the needle of a goal of like, if it's hard, you know what I mean? But like I don't lose anything because I hold on to muscle like
right.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so like I have stopped weighing myself because I get so discouraged from it. But I know that like this is like what I need to eat to sustain what I am doing. And so like at this point, almost every single day, which it sounds so sad, but like almost every single day I eat the exact same thing. Not because
definition of insanity.
Like it sounds insane, but like I know it works. I know that I'm not going to feel full. I know that I'm hitting all my food groups.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it takes like the hard work out of it.
Yeah. Healthy carbs, fat, protein, vegetables.
Yeah.
Done.
The end.
Yep.
And you can eat all of the vegetables and all of the fruit.
As much as you want.
And be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I once heard somebody talk about, they were like, I ain't never seen no heavy or no person eating pineapple till they got fat. Who's eating pineapple till they get fat? Because it was like, I think it was
hey, man, did you eat 10 apples today?
Like, there's no way that you are going to be obese eating, you know, that many apples, that many strawberries. Like, that's not, you cannot do that.
Well, and unfortunately, like, heavy people which is the only, like, I had a buddy of mine tell me this, and it was such a good comment. He said, those people wear their weakness. And so it's like for them, and he's like, it's the only person, like, you walk outside, you're not going to see somebody who's like depressed.
Yeah.
Like you don't look at it and say like, oh, that person definitely struggles with depression. He's like, but if you see somebody weight wise, that's one of the few things in this world that those people like carry. Like it's very apparent to everybody that you struggle with this. And so unfortunately, like, that's a problem, you know, because you can't say anything. But even if you looked at me and you were like, you look depressed, I would still be like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just funny how in diet culture, you can't ask that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't be like,
especially
you
with
okay?
the body positivity.
Yeah, you can't like say like, hey, I'm genuinely concerned about you, because all of a sudden then people look at you and they're like, oh man, like I don't want to talk to you.
And two, we live in, I'm sure we live in the fattest country.
Oh, I've been to Japan and Israel, and both of those countries, like in Japan, if you're a sumo wrestler, like you're not the norm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But like even Israel, like on a Mediterranean diets, they're all thin.
Yeah. And so like I see people on like YouTube and stuff like that who are like downing like 8 Big Macs, 17, things of French fries,
lots of processed food,
like totally like glamorizing these ultra processed foods. And it is so disheartening to like see that that's kind of the future of what diet culture is looking like right now, is like the diet culture is changing from like, I need to be thin, to like, well, nobody cares.
Nobody cares to do whatever you want.
And it's like, hey guys, your heart cares, your arteries care.
And like you're a great, like there are people out there that like I love. I don't want to lose you early, because of something that you participated in that could have been avoided. Like that's stupid. That's so much of like the, and I know there's other things in life that we do, where it's like, yeah, well then why do you ride a motorcycle or whatever the case is? I don't think those are in the same category. I don't think you can look at that and be like, oh yeah, they're the same thing. I don't know. But
and food is very much like you prevent the preventables, because like there are people who were born predisposed,
right? You have some genetics. You have genetics.
So like that is always going to be at play. But I mean, like,
as a chef though, why do you think there's so much? Why do you think the processed food is so prevalent in our country?
Because it's scientifically modified to taste good. So it's
kind of like scrolling on social media. Like it just feels good.
So there's 2 things that are kind of at play when it comes to ultra processed. First and foremost is that it's been genetically modified, scientifically worked on to hit all of the areas in your mouth, on your taste buds. You have thousands of taste buds, not only on your tongue, on your cheeks, under your tongue, on like
smell,
everything,
all the things. Yeah.
These foods have been made to hit all of the right points. So then when you eat that thing, then
after like years and years of research too.
Then dopamine is released. Yeah. Because it tastes good, so it feels good.
Have you read Dopamine Nation, by the way? It's a fantastic book. I don't know if I have it on myself.
You're looking at your wall.
I give that book out like candy. It's very, just for those of you, like 2 seconds real quick. If those of you choose to read Dopamine Nation, no, it is not a Christian book. B, it can be very graphic in some stuff, but it is fantastic.
Dopamine Nation.
It's called Dopamine Nation. It was one of the best books I read in 2023.
Okay.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyways.
So it releases dopamine.
So it releases dopamine. So then you crave that. It's not necessarily the food. I mean, the dopamine is linked to that food
because it feels good.
It feels good. So your mind is like, check mark, this is delicious. I want this, more. And then you go to that food item.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, Coca-Cola from McDonald's. If you talked to anybody, I used to drink pop. I have not hardly drank pop at all.
Do you drink carbonated water?
No.
I love it.
Carbonated water tastes like TV static.
I love it. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways.
Dopamine all day. I just get.
Well, okay. So what?
I need that all day dopamine.
No, it's TV static in a cup. That's what it. That's.
Mm-hmm. I'm a 90s kid, so that sounds great.
Did you ever wake up? Did you ever like fall asleep on the couch in the 90s and like all of a sudden you wake up in the middle of the night and it's just like.
It's like the girl from The Ring's coming out,
Yeah, the thousands really close that. If my TV was on in the middle of the night, turn that off.
Turn that off. That lady's. I know how that.
She's on her way. Don't let her crawl. Ah. But anyways, so McDonald's.
There's some people that are like, what? And then there's other people that are like,
I get it. Yes, The Ring has completely changed all of our brain chemistry.
The Blair Witch Project. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, anyways, so McDonald's,
the Coke,
we did like a kind of a research in school as to like why is McDonald's Coke different?
Yeah,
because everybody who drinks Coke is like, I want McDonald's Coke.
Yeah,
why is it different? Their straws. They found that the size of straw, the diameter of their straw, is what is the perfect diameter to get the perfect amount of all of the things, like all
that
of
are
the
in
fizz,
it.
all of the flavor.
Yeah. Their carbonation is different too, isn't it?
Their carbonation is different. They chill their
the
syrups as well. So there's all of these different things. It's served at a specific temperature that go into
ice
make
is
it
a certain
specific.
Yeah.
And so all of these factors play into that one Coke.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that's the Coke that I want to drink.
Yeah.
Or like it's just all sorts of things like that. The French fries in restaurants have been scientifically kind of like modified and played with. The recipes have been played with to reach the sweetness, the savory, the salty, all of that is attained. And when all of that is turned into a perfect bite, dopamine is released. You're going to go back for that. On the other side of why processed food is so addictive, it's the motion of certain things. So like chip bags. Obviously, you guys can tell that I've done some research.
Yeah, this is good. I love it. Go ahead.
So like chip bags, they are by weight, but they don't like change the amount of air. Have you ever opened a bag of chips?
Yeah.
Like, half of this
because it shifts in shipping.
Yeah. So, but they don't lessen the size of bag because the like air that they pump into that
it needs to be
for
in there.
Freshness.
Yeah.
But also because there is something that is satisfactory to the human brain about reaching into something and grabbing it. It's a mindless eating thing. And so you eat more.
So like popcorn's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you end up eating more because you don't see how much you've eaten. Most people, if you're eating chips, you're not eating.
Wasn't that the plate philosophy too?
Yes.
Like there's a lot, like Americans have bigger plates, and there's a lot of like cases that say just get half of a plate of what you think you're going to use and just fill that up. Yeah.
But like there's so much mindless eating. It tastes good, so you just keep going back for more. You keep wanting to get that dopamine hit, but the bag, it has been it's deep, so you're getting that satisfaction from like reaching in and getting something. You're like treating yourself, kind of a thing, for the action that you just performed, reaching into that chip bag. But then also you don't see the inside of that chip bag, so you could eat half a bag of chips and not know.
Which is why you put it in a bowl or something.
You put it in a bowl.
Yeah.
So there's all of these things that kind of aid into why so many people love processed food. It's highly addictive because it was made to be highly addictive.
Yeah, we built it that way.
Yeah, like that's how scientists, I think that's part of like
isn't there like a Netflix show like Food Inc. or something like that?
There's a bunch of
them. There is a bunch of them out there.
I've
Food Inc. was really good though. It was by Robert Kerner. And basically it examined like corporate farming, and it talked about like how they're processing food in an unhealthy way.
Yeah, I mean chickens, the amount of food that chickens get to just have a bigger chicken breast, because we're not only just dealing with a diet like with overeating, we're getting huger portions. At this point now, chicken breasts are so big that chickens can't even stand up because the breast is too big. Like, we have genetically modified so much of our food to satisfy this like overconsumption that we didn't need in the first place, but thought we need because I don't know, our Irish ancestors were like, you need to stock up on your, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's funny you bring that up because yesterday I was at a restaurant and the person, our server, was like, you should get the burrito. It's huge.
Yeah.
Like it was a selling point.
Yeah.
Like you're getting a ton of food here.
Bigger and better.
And I'm like, but is it good?
Yeah. But like, that's the thing is like people no longer, I mean, people still want flavor. Like when I dine, I want flavor and I want quality food.
Which is why they have like the restaurants that have multiple courses that they have really little plates because they're desiring like the perfect bite.
This is the quality.
Yeah.
We're actually, I'm trying so hard to go into a restaurant like that for my birthday.
Man, I can't. I just can't do it. Like I'm like every time I leave, I feel like I'm still hungry and I paid you a lot of money.
I want to so badly, and I'm sure that we will leave hungry, but like just to experience it.
Give me the good burrito.
Anyways,
the big old
burrito covered in cheese.
Saturated
gravy.
What's your graces?
My grace, I think when you are trying to kind of follow some type of diet, you start to learn what works for your body.
Kind of like New Year's resolutions. At least you're on the path to somewhat of a striving of discipline.
You're trying to find it out, but what happens is people end up getting discouraged because like you're still figuring it out, but like you have to do some research, but you're at least thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're trying to kind of take control of what you can, kind of a thing. So it's like a loaded grace because in order to really do that, you need to like start looking at your nutrition labels.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, but I don't want to read while I'm at the grocery store. And I'm like, well, like I was just talking to my friend earlier today. I don't read at the grocery store.
I just read when people are like if you brought in a bottle of something, I'd probably like check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Over Thanksgiving, one of my relatives had a can of pop, and I was like, you realize that like 25% of that can is sugar? Mm-hmm. And they're like, so? And I'm like, so? 25%.
But that's like the addiction. I mean, of anything.
So if I poured out a
sugar.
cup of sugar, you're telling me you would eat it? No. Okay, but I put liquid in it and you're going to eat it?
There's like a very famous like thing, like a visual thing where people like they poured out the sugar.
Yeah, within it.
Next to, and it's insane.
It's unbelievable. Like I always look at it and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or I was just talking to my, so I used to, my like, the way that I eat, the way that I cook has changed not only because of my career, but also because of Josh. Because Josh was a little bit more like health conscious because of his job.
Yeah.
And I remember for the longest time, like I wouldn't really like look at too many labels or anything like that. And I remember I was drinking something and he was like, why are you drinking that? Like it was like a juice or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, why are you drinking that? And I was like, because it tastes good. And he was like, look at the side of the label.
I'm dopamine dropping right now. Leave me alone.
And he was like, look at the label. So I, turned it and I was like, water, whatever, concentrate. And then
a bunch of things I can't read.
High fructose corn syrup. And he was like,
sugarlose
is in there. So you're okay with drinking high fructose corn syrup? And at the time I was like, well, yeah, like it. Whatever. I like the juice. But then he expounded upon it and like your body doesn't process high fructose corn syrup.
No, it can't.
And so instead of it doing anything, it just gets stored into your body. But like
it's really hard to get rid of.
It's really hard to get rid of. And so I was just talking about this with a friend, like literally an hour and a half ago was talking about it because we were talking about like some kind of, I don't even remember.
You're having a Grease and Grace moment.
Oh, we were talking about soda. We were talking about
yeah.
soda, and there's like people are putting like sweetened condensed milk in their soda, and I'm like, you're just putting more sugar on top of the sugar. Oh my!
Yeah, there's all that stuff too, like sugarlose is in there,
yeah.
Stuff like that. Which I don't know, like small doses. I go back and forth on it. Mm-hmm. I think my graceful thing is. At least we are getting into a conversation about what is accurate and what is inaccurate.
Yeah.
Like finally, we're having a conversation about this is healthy and this is not healthy. Like, and I think that's definitely like a huge grace because I like it. I'm always curious where people got their information though.
Yeah.
Like you and I are sitting here like shooting from our own personal experiences, our own personal research. Neither one of us are doctors. Yeah, Neither one of us are nutritionists, things like that. But this is going to trigger some people. I'm fully aware. I have never met a nutritionist that is unhealthy, but I have met counselors who are unhealthy. And I will listen to a nutritionist over a counselor any day of the week because I think whatever you put into your body has a definite effect on not only your psyche, but also on how you feel. Like you talked about the bag of chips. I can eat a bag of chips, but I know how it makes my hands feel, and I hate it. I hate it. Like it drives me crazy. So like there's a lot of inside of myself where I'll look at something and I'll say, I'm not going to eat that because I know how it makes me feel. But I know full well some people can't do that.
Yeah.
I know they don't think that way.
Yeah. Well, and like there's so many, yes, I very much agree. Like I appreciate, and I'm like kind of diving into almost like what feels like work to me. Cause like one of the,
you live in this realm.
I live in this realm. And one of the trends right now is like very conscious, dining where it's whole foods. Like,
am I eating something that got microwaved, or am I eating something that is like absolutely, like
whatever chemical? Like, look at your label, and if you can pronounce everything, then cool, that's good. And I know there's so many people too who are like, eating healthy is expensive, but like, eat seasonally. So it's what I appreciate about diet culture is it brings people into the cooking realm where they're like cooking things and learning things about
seeing how it works,
understanding how it works. And then in turn, just like as a, I don't want to say selfish, but because I'm in this realm, like you grow an appreciation for the small shop who's making sourdough for the farmer market.
And making it from scratch
using like a good flour, and they know about that flour. Yeah. Most people who, are growing their produce, like I love going to the farmer market in the summer.
Yeah.
Why is my mom calling me? Sorry. I love going to the farmer market in the summer because I can talk to the farmers. They plucked.
They did the whole
fruit,
thing.
They plucked the vegetable,
which is why third world countries have farmers markets. Like, what do? Yeah. Everybody grows their own stuff. You bring it into the farmers market. You sit down and you're like, here. And it's all fresh. I remember when we were in Israel, we were walking through the farmer's market. It was fantastic. You would have flipped
out. I'm sure.
It was just so crazy because everything is so fresh. You got dates. You got like all of these like Mediterranean things. And they're all just so figs.
Yeah.
Like that just came off the tree.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa.
Or like going to Seattle and they have the fish market. That's fish market from like, people touched like
that little guy just was in the water like an hour ago.
Yeah. Or like my my best friend lives in Florida, and she knows that I love farmers markets, and so she's always like, do you want to go? Like, absolutely. And I remember the last time that I went, I noticed like there's so much seafood in Florida, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I would not ever go to a grocery store if I lived in an area where farmer markets were this stocked all of the time.
Yeah.
I live in the wrong state is really.
Well, you live in the middle of things. Which is another thing. Like, the older I get, the more I love this because it's not just in regards to food, but like balance is a myth. Like there is no such thing. Like, and there's a lot of people that are like, oh, just just seek balance and no. Your life, you're gonna live a life where you're in chaos sometimes, and then like there's calm, and then all of a sudden it's chaos again. Like there's gonna be seasons where you're gonna eat at 2:00. It's called Thanksgiving, and you're gonna eat a ton, and it's gonna transpire. Those things are gonna happen, and you know what? Like, no, you don't have to overeat. Like, but don't miss the opportunity to sit across the table from somebody either and have like a meal with them. Yeah,
it's so restrictive when people are on diets.
Like, I can't do that. It's like, I'm not asking you to participate all the way.
Yeah.
It's like people that I know that drink. Like, I don't drink, but to totally like abstain from liquid is a completely different like if you're gonna sit there and you're gonna drink and I'm gonna sit here and I look at it and be like, I'm anti-liquids. Like, what, dude? What? Just there's water. You can drink water.
Yeah.
Put a glass of something in front of me so that I don't feel like an absolute weirdo.
Or like people who are like, I'm carb free. Stop what you're doing. Like, oh my goodness. Josh and I have had so many conversations about cutting out carbs because specifically
carbs
Josh
is like,
healthy
carbs are really good.
Are good for you. Your body needs carbs.
100%.
So I'm saying that because I too am like, your body needs carbs. You can't cut carbs out. Carbs are in everything. Carbs are in cheese. Carbs are in fruit. Carbs are in vegetables. Carbs, like, then you're saying that you're living on an air diet.
Yeah, you don't eat then.
Stop saying you're cutting out carbs. If there is nothing more, that makes me so mad. Stop it. That's ridiculous because all it's doing is telling your mind that this is now a no-no food. And so then you're like,
but calories are the same way.
Yes.
Calories, like people look at it all the time and they're like, oh, so I follow a guy. He's a high caliber Iron Man. Like, and no joke. Like when he first started, he was winning off this too. he was eating junk, like all junk. He'd go to McDonald's, and basically what he did was he was like, carbs are carbs and calories are calories. Like, if I'm going to go bike this many miles, I need this many calories. Just recently he switched over, but it's really funny to hear him talk, because there's a couple of times where he'll be like, I understand the difference between processed and non-processed food. He's like, but at the same time, he's like, you got to understand your goals too.
Yeah.
So there's like, there's a guy who's an ultra marathon runner, and he's like, it's amazing how far you can go on water and salt. And that was his whole gig. He's like, all these guys are on the trails, you know, he's like, I'm not saying that your gels or whatever aren't helping or beneficial. He's like, but at the basic core of a human is water and salt.
Yeah. 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 Like, there's so many things that people like deprive themselves of.
Yeah.
That, and like, it does. It completely like devoids you from being able to just like go out with a friend and enjoy a dinner.
Yeah.
Eat the food. Like, anymore.
And you don't have to participate. Like,
yeah.
If you are gluten free or whatever the case is, be gluten free. That's fine.
Yes.
But like, also listen.
Don't make it your entire identity.
Yeah.
Don't make it your entire identity, because diet culture has turned into everyone's entire identity. I'm not eating this. I am eating this. And it's like, just eat it. Eat it.
I was listening to a comedian the other day. I'll send him to you. It's so funny. He's like talking through like all the problems, you know, or whatever. And he's like, whatever happened to the nut guy? Like, who's got a peanut allergy? He's like, he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't bring it up. Yeah. You know what? Everybody else bringing it up. He's like, he doesn't bring it up. He's like, because he knows he wins in the end. Like, oh, you guys, you have diarrhea. Yeah, well, I die. You give me peanut butter, I die. It's so funny.
True. Yeah. So it's such a weird.
Yeah, it is.
Subject to kind of grease and grace, because it has its graces, but there's so many greases, and realistically when you like break it down, it's the people who have turned it into
it is
like,
because here's the deal, like the person in the wheelchair doesn't talk about being in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
It's more of an issue for people who are not in the wheelchair than the person who is. Like, and I think that's the big issue, is like, just live. And you don't have to call attention to things. We were just talking about this the other day in my home. Like, I was like, you don't have to, you know, say, oh, look what I did and all these other things. Like, now, like, if you're on like a platform, for example, where like that's your Facebook group, right? Like, you have a gluten allergy Facebook group.
Yes.
Cool. Air it out there. Those are your people. Have fun. But if you're on like the Basset Hound owners group and you're like, oh man, me and my dog, we got into some gluten the other day. It's like, nobody wants to know that.
Nobody needed that.
Ain't nobody need that.
Yeah. Just eat the food. Eat good food. If you're going to eat something sweet, make sure that it's sugar, not aspartame or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
aspartame.
Whatever it
aspartame.
is. Aspartame, aspartame, whatever. I've never pronounced it right. But like, don't put the processed things in. Like, one of my favorite things, Josh, he makes fun of me for it, but like, I love a mug and a cup.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while, I have a really insatiable sweet tooth. Like, I
do not.
Wish,
I do not. Yeah.
I wish that I didn't have it, but every once in a while, like, I need to have something sweet, and I don't keep sweet things.
You're like, give me a donut.
And so, because donuts are super processed. Well, I love donuts. They're my favorite.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you get to that time where you're like, I'm gonna eat a donut.
But like, I make this mug cake, and I have the recipe memorized, not because I meant to. It's just because like,
you just know it's good. Yeah.
But it's whole food. Like, it is flour that I have bought. It is cocoa powder. It is sugar. Like, it is full ingredient
good stuff.
Things that you can pronounce and you know what it is. And like, I could realistically, this is like my nerd zone, because like I could nerd out on like flour and how flour history. Stuff. I'm not gonna do it, because then everybody's gonna be asleep and they're gonna be like, this is the first time I've gotten bored from listening to Kim.
Okay, so with that said, then, like at the end of every episode, we always ask, like, what do you want? What would you like to hear from in regards to people? Like, what would be your things to reach out?
Are you? I mean, I'm just gonna go like real basic. Are you a sweet person? Are you a salty person?
Yeah.
What is your like go-to snack? Like, what is your thing that's like, I don't keep this in the house, because if I have it in the house, then I will eat it all. Because mine is brownies.
Yeah.
And so like, as much as I talk about diet culture, it's very much a subject where like it's too personal for me to be like, what diet are you adhering to? But you know what I mean? Like it's a very personal thing because it's talking directly about your health.
Yeah.
But more so, that's really, are you a salty? Are you a sweet person?
Yeah.
But more so, like, do your research.
Yeah.
If nothing, like, this one is not a comment one. This is like research.
Yeah.
Research why you're
Find
doing
out the truth.
What you're
not
doing.
your truth.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah, because like diet culture is very much linked to health.
I love how passionate you are about it.
I am.
I would say like I would be really curious like what triggers people. Like when you're out to eat or whatever, like and you hear something at like a restaurant or whatever, what's like you're like, are you serious, Karen?
I will never forget. I was working breakfast at a restaurant that was very close to a mega church. I'm sure I've shared this.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And there was a customer who ordered scrambled eggs, bacon, and potatoes.
Okay.
And sent it back because there was gluten on the plate.
What do you expect?
Show me the gluten on this plate. I looked right at that server and I was like, show it to me. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like,
there's none on there.
Gluten?
Yeah.
Tell me. Where is it at? I was like on the brink of just like chucking my chef knife through the window at him because I was like, you are sending this back.
It's over. We're done.
So research what it is. If you're going to cut something out, research it.
Yeah.
Figure it out, guys.
I would love to know like people's trigger points.
Trigger?
Yeah.
Like, are you the person who sent back the eggs, potatoes, and bacon for having gluten?
And are you the nut guy? Like because if you are, you're winning. You know, like you definitely have a problem there.
There's probably somebody in the hospital right now who's like coming back from an allergic reaction, and they're like, "I don't feel like I'm winning right now, Jordan. This doesn't feel like a win in 2025."
Yeah. We could sell Grease and Gray shirts that just say, "I'm the nut guy." Like I have a legitimate peanut allergy. You know.
Something like that, yeah.
Because I mean, he was saying some funny stuff, but he was like, he's the one person that can send things back. You know, if I eat that, I will die.
I will die. You win. You win.
All right, so you can reach out to us a couple different ways. Social media, always a great platform. Or you can email us at greaseandgracepod@gmail.com. Happy New Year again. I mean, I know we just said that, but we're only just a few weeks into January. So we got a couple of things coming up, some things down the pipe, some things that are happening and transpiring. But we'd love to hear from you. So don't hesitate to reach out if there's something that we can reach out. And by the way, if we triggered something today, like, think before you talk. Like,
why did it trigger you?
Well, and just like, I understand there's a lot of sensitive, this is like the disclaimer after the show, which I probably should have put on beforehand. But like, if we said something where you're like, I'm that person and now I hate you, like that is not the goal of our show. Is to get you to be tripped up to where you are irate at something we said. Again, we're not doctors, we're not medical professionals. And by all means, like, this is 100% meant. I just said 100%. You did.
What's your cringe word that you say, guys?
Yeah, there you go. But this is meant to not be like something where you're taking and you're being like, well, Jordan and Kim said, like, just back up a second. Why'd you get upset about that? And then maybe like just take a breath before you spew some venom and say some things that you regret. So I know that goes probably without saying, but we still have to say things that go without saying. So until next time, we'll talk to you real soon.
Bye. Love you so much.